of that reference.
There's tons of coaches in the league that you don't know. You could throw a team at me and I would forget. There's a lot of no-name coaches right now in the league that are building up their reputations.
Yes.
Portland, I would just assume they haven't identified who that person for them is yet. So why fire him and pay him off if you don't have the true replacement?
And my thought process is there's not even the idea of finding that replacement because they're unwilling to pay him the buyout and fire him. That's my thought on it. When that report came out of Chauncey Billups other teams might be sniffing around, that's 100% a Billups leak.
Yes.
He wants to get the hell out of here.
He was never going to Phoenix.
He wants to win. He was never going to get the Phoenix job. Bud's won a title a couple of years ago, dude. Like, we can all make fun of him. What are we doing here?
He was wrongly fired, too. His brother died, and we were like, hey, you're a bum. And he's like, I don't know, man.
How does Milwaukee feel about that right now?
Right.
With their coaching situation.
Right.
So that clearly came as a leak from Chauncey, who wants out because he wants to win, and he knows his name is tarnished because of this job. And I don't know if he's a good head coach or not. None of us do. I don't have a lot of confidence in him because he had 1 year experience as an assistant. But when you have a career winning percentage, 150 games below 500, good luck going and getting another job. That's his thought process here of like, if I got to sign up for 60 more losses, because the Blazers are going to be like 20-62 next year.
They should.
They should be if you're doing it right.
Capture the flag.
He's not getting another coaching job. He's got to go be an assistant for like 5 more years. So he's trying to jump ship as quickly as he can.
Ace the test.
He doesn't want to be here, but we don't want to pay him off. Like, that's the situation that we're in. And so this comes back to the larger issue with me of I hear people say, oh, Jody's willing to spend. She's willing to do whatever. She's totally engaged. Like, here's your example. If she is, then this is the move that you make. They're not making the move. He's going to be the head coach this year.
What if they give him an extension?
Then at least I'll say you're putting your money where your mouth is and you believe in him because you're stringing him out right now. It's a little unfair to Chauncey, to be honest with you, because we all know they're going to break up after this upcoming year.
You know what's funny is I randomly got stuck in a I don't know what to watch right now moment on Saturday night. So you know what I ended up watching?
What'd you turn on?
Popped a gummy. I turned on Moneyball.
Nice.
I love Moneyball. I love Brad Pitt as Billy Bean. I thought he was extraordinary. I love the inside baseball, on baseball stuff. And there's a scene that actually you just reminded me of when Art Howe, who is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, he is.
R.I.P., comes up to him and basically says, I need an extension. Went 102 games last year. I don't want to be a lame duck manager. And so then Art Howe, he creates that rift between him and Billy Bean in their year where he has no money. And it's just funny that you say that because that's kind of what you're creating is a little bit of a lame duck year where, yeah, maybe they are friendly and they're good, but eventually maybe Chauncey's like, hey, man, I have a 29% winning percentage. I'm tired of this crap.
What do you want from me here? At the exit interviews, he's talking about pushing for a playoff spot next year. Like, get the hell out of here. We all know what direction they're going.
I don't want to interrupt your segment any more than it already has been. Fun fact, didn't know this till yesterday. My gambling producer shot me this. The Indiana Pacers had worse title odds than us.
Coming into the year?
And I don't know how that was because everybody in this city knew that they were clearly going to suck.
Is that that had not pre-Lillard, like post-Lillard trade?
That was going into the year.
Going into the year.
They were plus 25,000. We were plus 12,500.
What?
Yeah.
Vegas missed that one, man.
Missed the mark.
Just
you know who else had worse odds than us?
Who did?
He shot a screenshot to me. Let me see if I can find this.
I was thinking about
Orlando.
Yeah.
Orlando.
They're a game away from going to the second round of the playoffs.
Orlando and Indiana both had worse title odds than we did.
Dear God, Vegas, just give me one phone call. I'll tell you, we're not sniffing a title anytime soon. You can go ahead and bump those odds up. But it's funny how in the playoffs, you and I kind of have a similar thing of we view things through a Blazer lens.
I have to.
I always do.
I want to be these teams. I want to see Portland be Minnesota.
So Anthony Edwards and the T-Wolves are now going to the conference finals. It's only the second time it's happened in the history of their franchise. We're thrilled for them. We both got future T-Wolves tickets. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I think it sums up my general frustration with everything outside of just the Jody stuff. But this is year 4 for Ann Edwards?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong?
Year 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would all agree that we don't have an Anthony Edwards on this team, or we haven't identified that yet. We have
not until Baby Kobe emerges next year.
And maybe Baby Kobe's the answer to our problems next year, but if he's not, then you're trying to draft the guy in the next year's draft because this year's draft likely not going to net you that superstar player that you build around. So I think let's be really generous here. When are the Blazers on the shortest timeline possible, when are they getting out of this tank?
Are we starting from this next season?
Start just from like literally right now.
Right
How many
now.
years is it going to take? On the shortest timeline that you could possibly imagine.
To be them or to be a playoff team?
It could be a playoff
Like
team.
to be Orlando?
Not a play-in team where you're like 500,
No, but to be
like,
Orlando.
Be Orlando.
The shortest, if Joe gets aggressive, your best possible scenario is 3 years.
Okay.
Best possible.
And I would argue 4, but I see your point.
But my assumption for 3
Tomato.
is Scoot and Shaden take off while the rookie you draft next year is adapting to it all. And then in his second year, those other guys are 4 or 5 years and whatever it is at that point.
Yeah.
And you're the 6th seed or 7th seed and you lose in the first round.
So I was thinking about this yesterday because I was just looking through Anthony Edwards' career and how long it took Minnesota to get here. And last year they made the play-in, and then they lose in the first round. This year they're going to the conference finals.
Second year they made the playoffs.
Sure. Oh, in his second year they did?
Yeah, his rookie year was 2020, 2021. In 2021, 22, they lost in the first round.
Okay. Then they were a play-in team last year too, right? Or where did they go last year?
It says Western Conference first round.
Okay. So I think they won the play-in and then lost in the first round.
Lost to Denver last year.
Lost to Denver in the 1-8 matchup.
Yeah.
So it took them 4 years once they drafted their guy and to get there. And so I was just thinking to myself, it's probably at least 4 years off from being a team that can make some noise in the playoffs and actually do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started thinking of timelines, and it got me really frustrated. Like, Anthony Simons is a week or two away from turning 25 years old.
Yeah.
So if you're 4 or 5 years away from doing something significant, you're looking at him being 29 or 30 years old in over 10 years with this organization.
If you use the Cat model.
If you use that model.
Cat is more, getting to a West Finals with Cat's age is far more the average than it is being Ant at 22 and getting this.
No doubt about it. DeAndre Ayton's about to turn 26.
Mm-hmm.
You're 4 years away. He's 30, 31 years old.
Jeremy
Grant is 30.
Yeah.
He just turned 30, so he will be 34, 35 years old. And I was just thinking to myself of like, I don't know if any of these guys fit in the current thing of what you're trying to build with the timeline. Even if Scoot and Shaden hit, it's going to take them 3 years to get there to make any significant noise. And you're looking at guys who are going into their 30s, that are going into their late 20s, into their 30s, who are going to need new contracts before that kicks in. And it just, I remain hopeful that they have that reality point this offseason of gutting it and losing the most games you possibly can next year without some of these veterans on the team, because I think having a year next year where you're not a bottom 3 win total team in the NBA is inexcusable for where you're at.
Well, you'll have a veteran or two on this team. That's just how it's going to be in the league. And you always kind of want a couple, cagey vets in your locker room, giving maybe some advice to some of these young bucks. I also think what's really tough is today come in and say, I want to be Minnesota. The whole league wants to be Minnesota right now. That's how this tends to go. Last year, everybody wanted to be Denver.
That's the way it works.
Until yesterday when they blew a 20-point lead in the second half. If Boston wins the title, everybody's going to want to be Boston. That's just kind of the natural order of things in the NBA. It is just as simple as, yes, they traded for Gobert, and it set them apart with athleticism and length defensively. They also nailed their number 1 overall pick. And sometimes it's a crapshoot. It's why I said an optimistic view of the draft lottery this year, despite falling to 7, as awful as that sounds, maybe you end up getting the best player out of it. I have no idea if Alex Sarr is a proven defensive stalwart.
I have no clue.
I don't know if Reed Shepard's going to come in as a 6'1" white guy and yam on people.
Hell yeah.
But maybe Cody Williams falls to you at 7. Maybe you get Alex Caravan from UConn, becomes an Alex Caruso type of player. It's such a crapshoot of a draft. You just don't know what value is going to fall where.
And your better player you pick might be at 14 than 7.
Maybe. That statistically never happens, but in a draft like this, that's so wild card, you don't know how it's all going to break. And then next year, if you were to get a top 3 pick, there's multiple players. So if you don't capture the flag, maybe Ace the Tank, you get Ace Bailey, and he becomes actually the better player than it. And that's your Ant. It's just, some of this is a crapshoot, man. But that's the tough thing with tanking. And why getting out of tanking becomes difficult is sometimes you don't know the mental makeup, the work ethic, the chemistry of all of it. I don't envy Joe Cronin in building this. It's incredibly challenging.
It's a difficult road ahead, and it's likely 4 or 5 years in the future when you're even hopeful to get out of this thing and poke your head back up above water. But it all starts in a month with the NBA draft, and we'll see what they do at number 7 and number 14.